Hi, my name is Rania Kusumadinata. A first name from, as you guessed it, a saint. A middle name from a queen. And a last name from an Indonesian warrior. Certainly, the choice of names really reflect on what my parents picture me to be one day. Someone who is strong-willed, someone who is brave. But I don't think they would have guessed that this saint princess royalty daughter would turn out as first and foremost a crybaby. Now, I want you guys to imagine this word I have, crybaby, or cengeng, as we know in Indonesian. If you guys imagine someone who is totally pathetic, someone who's totally vulnerable and mentally unstable, then you guys are the perfect audience for my talk today. Now, for starters, me and crying have had our fair share of love and hate relationships. We've been through lots. I've been through crying during graduation day, during middle school farewell night, but there were also those tears that rolled down uncontrollably when I was faced with uncomfortable situations. I cried on my first day of primary school. I couldn't leave my mom. I cried when I couldn't finish a song on the piano, where my teacher was quite forgetfully gonna demolish me. And I cried when I didn't get into a random school club. But what does this all say? Although this all may sound as very dramatic, I'm here today to tell you guys about the significance in letting out your emotions through crying, and the benefits that you may achieve in doing so, and the benefits that I have personally felt until now. And what has made me to reach from tears to triumph. Now, first of all, the word crybaby itself already pretty much explains the meaning it's trying to convey. That crying is symbolic to babies, and then babies are symbolic to crying. And indirectly or directly telling us that crying is an act meant only for babies and not meant for anyone else other than babies. But with the ever so rising pressures of life, the ever so rising standards of life, all people, or even like teenagers, people in general, are reprimanded for their tears. They're judged for crying, they're judged for tearing up. But with the ever so rising pressures, we all need a way to cope with our burdens somehow. We all need a way to deal with our own trials and tribulations daily somehow. And crybabies seek comfort through crying. And that doesn't make crybabies any less human than the rest of us. They might even be more human. Because the first thing that you do when you are born is cry. It signifies that you are alive. It signifies that you are breathing. It signifies that you are fully aware of the situation around you. It signifies to yourself and other people that you're adapting to whatever it is situation you are at right now. Now, tears can be categorized into three. First, basal tears. They're the most basic functional tears. They are there to lubricate your eyes and do other stuff. And there are reflex tears that are there when your eyes get irritated. But lastly is emotional tears. We all tend to think that emotional tears are only correlated with negative emotions. But no, every single emotion, whether it be good or bad, can be correlated to your tears. And that's all okay. Think of it like ice cream. There are lots of flavors of ice cream, as there are lots of emotions within us. You can like chocolate, you can like mint, you can even like mint chocolate as a combination. And that's all okay, because at the end of the day, ice cream is ice cream. They could play different roles towards different people. And that also applies to our tears. One person could need more emotional tears regarding sadness or joy, and that's all okay, because at the end of the day, we all would need our own amount of tears to reach our own stability. Now, what differentiates reflex and basal tears towards emotional tears? One main difference that differentiates them is that emotional tears can be held back by an individual voluntarily. Now, what does this mean? It means in two situations. Firstly is when you're actually ready to stop crying, you're done, and you go on with your life. But then after that, the second situation is that when you're not ready to stop crying, you still have strong bouts of emotions within you, but you are forced to force down your tears, force down your emotions, and repress them all down to the ground. And this could lead to repressive coping. And what is this? Researchers from Harvard Medical have stated that this repressive coping could lead to bad effects, very detrimental effects towards your own health. It could lead to a weakened immune system. It could lead to heart diseases. And overall, it's just not good for your mental well-being. Now, if you don't believe this 16-year-old girl babbling on and on about crying, you will believe an experiment done by Vingerhoutz, a specialist in emotions. He did an experiment where he assembled people to go to his lab and watch a sad movie. There were considerable people that did cry, there were people who didn't cry, and he measured their moods. First is immediately afterwards, and second is 90 minutes after the movie has ended. The results that were shown immediately afterwards were that the people who did cry were in reasonably worse moods than the people who didn't cry. But actually, 90 minutes after, the people who did cry were in actually better moods than the people who didn't cry. And what does this show us? This shows us that if we have let the benefits of crying finally set in, and we have finally digested our emotions and understood our emotions more, we may have the better benefits towards our mental being for the long term. Now, in Crybabies, these aspects thrive. First is empathy. We not only empathize with the people around us, we get to understand them more, but we also empathize with ourselves. And the second one is communication. Throughout learning about how to understand your emotions, we communicate within ourselves. We understand more about how a situation has made us feel and what we should do afterwards. And also our ability to communicate what we think towards other people. And now this last one is resilience. Contrary to the stereotype, we can develop strong resilience by learning how to cope with our intense emotions and setbacks. Now, there's a quote. Crying signals to yourself and others that there is a problem that is at least temporarily beyond your ability to cope. We should put a highlight on temporarily, because from this talk, I am by no means providing excuses on why we should prolong our crying sessions, but why we should still go back to crying each time we face a hard situation, but rather to point out the benefits that may come if we do end up crying. Think of it like you crying after getting a bad score after a test. Rather than shifting your focus towards the outcome, we should also appreciate and be proud of ourselves for actually trying to do the test and not leaving our efforts totally towards the drain. We actually already tried doing it. And after our cheeks have all dried up, we'll be able to understand our emotions more rationally and have a clearer mind on what the next steps should be. As we conclude this journey from tears to triumph, remember this, that tears are not a sign of weakness, but a testament towards your strength and resilience. In those vulnerable moments when we do shed tears, we develop stepping stones towards our greatest triumph, and we learn how to cope and our capacity to confront our conflicts and rise above it. So we should let them flow, let them heal, and let them be the reminder that from every tear, we can rewrite a story of resilience and courage and triumph. Like how the saying goes, everything happens for a reason. then let us now make it every tear happens for a reason. Because they do. Every single situation, whether it be good or bad, has shaped you into who you are right now and will continue doing so to make you to who you will be in the future. Now that was From Tears to Triumph. Thank you for joining me in this emotional and transformative journey to take one step back, to move 3 steps forward, and let the world be yours for the taking, one meaningful tear at a time. Thank you.